You have to remove a screw that's here and a screw that's here. Make sure you unplug your machine. Then you have to push this panel out, which creates a gap here. And then you should be able to lift this panel up. Now, I'll let you know right now, it's not that easy because there are all these catches. So it's very tight and you're going to have to push back on this, but if you put a screwdriver along this edge to do it, you're going to damage the plastic. So my persuasion tool was actually a plastic spoon so that I wouldn't damage it. And it took quite a lot because there's really nowhere for your hand to grab to pull out. So anyway, once that top is off, you have power control up here, power unit. Looks like you have this top that covers the drum, and therefore you have to remove that screw. There's a wiring harness that you can disconnect here, and then there's another screw. So I'm going to take out 2 screws, see if I can avoid dismantling where the power comes in. So upon removing the screws from there and there, there's no need to remove these screws that hold the control panel because that's just attached to this but nothing else. I did have to take the power supply box off. It's 2 screws, 1 front right corner, 1 back left corner, which reveals a screw down in there, which I think will release this entire top. Okay, so that screw is out, and now it looks like I might be able to get this top off. It feels like it's just attached here, so there's a harness here, and I don't want to go in here and release it, but I can't release it from this side. So that's just, you squeeze these and they should release. Managed to disconnect this from the harness. I'm just going to move the box out of the way, and then I think if I pull forward, yes, that reveals another lid that has to be removed before I can even get to the drum. So that's 3 lids to take off. With the second top off, we now have this metal pan that's revealed, and looking at it, it looks like maybe there's only 1 screw that I have to deal with on that side and 1 over on this side, and then there's this strip that maybe needs to be pulled or pushed one way or another. With the 1 screw off, you pull back and it just comes right off. Be careful that you don't drop it somewhere where you can't retrieve it. So let's see, that one goes on the left hand side. I don't think there's a real difference, but just in case. So I'm going to pull forward just about 1/4 of an inch. See those tooth there engage into those holes. So this one goes on the right side. And now, can it be? Yeah. Then we lift and we have total access to the top of the drum. With the final lid off, you can inspect the seal in the back and the felt seal in the front. You can just do a visual check of the belt. I notice on this drum there's just a little bit of oil. But if I really want to do further inspection, then there's more disassembly. Here's a corner brace, which if you took these off would give you access to taking this front panel. So that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and I think this faceplate would come off. With the 4 screws removed from inside the door. I then removed this screw off the top bracket and this screw off the top bracket, because I don't think I need to remove the entire top bracket. Okay, so what you're going to do is unplug this, and it just pulls out with a lot of persuasion. There's no tabs to press or push to get that out. And now I just pull back, and I should be able to lift up, and now I've removed the entire front of the dryer door with the door intact. Now we have exposure to, in this case, the gas, ignition, and burner, and the air cage that's here. And we should be able to see into the back with some light. If you see that wheel way in the back where the center of the beam is, that's one of the support wheels that the drum rests on, and when they start to either get flat or the bearing starts to go, they need to be replaced. There is one there. Then if we come over to the other side, there where the beam is again is the second wheel. So that takes care of the back. With the cover off, we have access to both wheels in the front. It's right here underneath this bolt. This is the actual bolt that holds the bearing sleeve, and the wheel is right. So you can get a light on that. My finger is right on it. It's kind of black, so it's kind of hard to see. Let's see. There's just the very top of it, or very bottom of it, past this metal frame. And then there's also one back here, and for that, to access that same bolt over here, you have to take off the cover. So that's one screw here and this one. With that screw off, this screw off. Oh, and we should take out the lint filter, because that'll make it just a little easier. And this just drops out. Now you can see the blower. In addition, you can see the bolt, just like this one, that holds the wheel here that supports the drum. And like I can feel this one just underneath, and it feels good. It's not rattling, and that's good there too. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the vacuum cleaner and clean some of the lint. Along with vacuuming this out, I just took a damp cloth and did the inside and polished it as much as I could, so the lint has less to grab onto. If you needed to replace the bearings beyond the front ones, and that's just a wrench on this side, wrench on the other side. I think it's 10 and 14, but I could be wrong. Anyway, to get to the back ones, you'd have to remove this entire bulkhead. So for that, there's a screw here, a screw here, screw here, screw here. Get them off, and then you lift up and out. That'll remove this entire bulkhead. Oh, and of course you have to disconnect the light. Revealing the drum, but before you could remove the drum, you'd have to actually, you see that pulley there? That's the tension pulley, and there's a spring on it which is right below. Anyway, so you'd have to release that tension, and you can do that by hand. Just push that pulley to your left, screen left, and that'll release the tension, release the belt. And then you can use the belt to help you lift and carry the drum out, and that'll give you full access to the back. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this cover. It goes up, catches here, and now I'm going to put in one screw and one screw there, and that should support that. Then drop in the lint filter. Next, grab the door. You see the 1, 2, 3 white clips. We have corresponding 1, 2, 3 holes. So we bring in the bottom, let it drop in. Then we have this bracket that it's going to slide under, and this one. And it catches. Don't forget to reconnect your sensor, otherwise your machine won't work. So that's plugged in, and now we're going to attach a screw here and a screw there. Quick tip here, I always organize my screws in the order that I took them off the device. So that makes reassembly a lot quicker because I know that I'm putting in the right screw type in the appropriate place. Screw is in. Screw is in. Front is secured. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws to reattach. Could we have taken the door off? Yes. There are 4 screws that would allow you to do that, but I didn't want to deal with the alignment of it, and it's just as easy just to take off the 4 other screws. That gets the whole machine off with the door closed, and we were fine with that. So those 4 screws are in. We can close our door, and now it's time to put the big metal top into position. So I've placed the pan in place. Make sure that on the back end the metal goes on top, not underneath. Easy mistake to make. And now we're going to get our little plastic rails, and let's see, it should, remember we have these tabs, which I called teeth. We drop those in place, and then we push forward and convince it that it needs to, there she goes, and it attached, and they're all in. And then we apply a screw here. Repeat the same for this side. With the metal deck in place, all we have to do now is make sure that our power unit's out of the way, and we're going to take the plastic deck and put that on top. Just a little detail, that plastic deck latches on here and here. There are 2 little tiny tabs there, and the other one's there. And then the rest of it just kind of drops into place, and then we have a screw there and a screw that's going to come in from the other side. And before you push it into place, make sure that none of the wires in the harness are going to get pinched. Fit there, so there's a screw in there. We still have to make these 2 connections right here and here, so those are fine. So we should be able to just give it a nudge, and it's in. We just need to secure one there and one there, and then this will be done, and we can go with the top lid. With the screws in place, it is now time to put the final lid on top, and notice it's going to catch here, here, and also all along this edge, which makes it a pain in the butt because it has all these little tabs plus this one for it to catch. So there's a lot of friction here. There are more tabs here in the front. So the only way to really get it is to use friction, because if you use a tool you're going to damage it. That's what makes it really hard. I wish they had just given you a pull tab or something, but they didn't. So we're going to place the lid on top. See the teeth, tabs. And it's level on the back. It's going to be level on the front. And then all we do is grab center back and pull, and hopefully that gap will close up as everything catches. There we go. So now it's closed off. And you know, you probably don't need to put the screws here and here, because this thing's on really secure. But I'm going to put them on anyway. With the last screw in, we plug in the unit, and we just make sure it powers up. That just tells us that all the connections were made. And I didn't assemble it any further, so there's really no need for me to run the unit. But that's at least how you take off this lid and the 2 layers underneath it, so you can get access to the drum, take off the front, and if you need to go further, then, as we said, take off the bulkhead, pull the drum out, and then you have a hole inside the machine.